couple of months ago or several weeks ago. His wife was here, and she's obviously the one that does the website. But one thing cool about their website is the flavor you get from it of their business. You know, being a family, and it talks about their past and so on. So one thing I would do is I would encourage you to go to David's website and to read that. It talks about his past. He's a veteran, and so on and so forth. And so and also on there it has comments by previous customers. And obviously, the one thing that this business has is a reputation of going above and beyond. They are totally, all the customers are more than satisfied. So I compliment David on his business. Just one quick question, David. Tell us something that no one knows about you.
Okay. Is that camera on?
Should we turn the camera off?
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Okay, good. I don't see the little red light. Okay.
It's counting down.
Well, when I was age 15, I killed Bambi.
Oh.
We were out hunting, and I like to go walking when I hunt. It was kind of foggy, and I had a doe permit, and I was going to shoot a doe, and this doe walked in front of me, and I shot. Well, I guess she moved because then behind her was Bambi. And we walked over and there was Bambi, and I haven't been hunting since. I'm just so upset about that.
So no further ado.
So that's why I see.
No further ado.
All right, today we're going to be talking about tomato grafting. Grafting here in the United States is actually new to the United States, even though it's been going on for 20 years or so. Grafting tomatoes and other plants as well started in Europe and the Orient. Here in the United States, so last year we did about 30 million grafts. Japan and countries in Europe alone did 100 million grafts. And the purpose in the grafting is to produce plants that will be more disease resistant. And what we do with grafting is we take your favorite, let's say tomato, that's the most popular thing here, and we graft it onto a rootstock, and then the tomato will produce more, it'll grow better and healthier with less disease. The types of tomato grafting is one, we would graft a tomato plant so that it produces more production, or we can graft tomato plants so that it produces more vegetation, more vines, more leaf. And the reason for that is we want to try to get the tomato plants so that it has a balanced production. It's putting just as much energy into producing tomatoes as it is into producing the leaves and the vine. Now, how many here have eaten a tomato grown from the vine? We just went out and picked it and ate it. Good. I mean, when you eat one of these and you taste the stuff in the store, it tastes like wax. I mean, you just can't compare them. It's just so different because the ones you buy in the store are ones that they picked 2 or 3 weeks ago when it was still green, so they could get to us before it turned before it spoiled. Now, in our grafting here, grafting is fairly easy. I have a Maxi-4, this is a rootstock, and the first thing I want to show you is on this plant here. I have too many plants growing, so I need to thin one out. I hate killing the plants, so sometimes I'll try to divide the stems and all that, and get 2 different plants out of one. But sometimes that doesn't work out too well, and the plant just dies anyway. So the best thing to do is take something sharp and just end his life. All right. And have you smelled the tomato vine? That smells really good. Just pass that around. All right. So we have our rootstock, and then we have our grafting plant. Now my grafts aren't quite as big as I wanted them to be. The rootstocks did fine, but the other ones haven't done as well. And the one I'm doing here is a rose. It's organic heirloom tomato. We grew these last year. These can get up to this big, and we had some that were that big, and it was just wonderful. And so you take your rootstock, and you would trim off all the other little leaves. All right, and then you cut down at a 45-degree angle. No, that wasn't quite 45 degrees. All right, and then take your tomato clip. Now, what else were these tomato clips good for? Anybody remember?
Yeah, but we're not going to discuss it here.
Colorado is a clue.
It protects your fingers. Protects your fingers.
All right, you get your clip ready. And actually, in Japan and Europe, where they do millions of these things, they actually have robots that do this. But here in the U.S., we still do it manually. And we go ahead and cut. And the plant that we're cutting, that we're going to graft onto the rootstock, is called a sicon.
Called what?
Sicon, S-I-C-O-N. I don't know if I pronounced that right or not. And you would just cut it down at a 45-degree angle. And you would leave all of its leaves on it. And take your grafting clip. And graft it on there like so. And that's it. And then you put this in a humidity dome. You want to keep it 95% in humidity and in the dark for the first 24 to 48 hours. And then when this plant grows, it'll be a much better plant. You know, here in Texas in the summertime, around June, tomato plants start wilting and dying. And these grafted plants will last throughout the summer, and they'll continue to produce throughout the summer, except for when the temperatures get above what? The plants, tomato plants?
90.
75. Well, at night. I'm sorry, I should have said at night. If it gets above 75 at night, it doesn't drop below 75, then tomatoes won't put on blooms. And if you wait all summer long, then they'll start producing again. And the idea behind the grafts also is they're a lot, they defend off a lot of diseases. You know, here we kind of get a lot of disease in our tomato plants, and the graft helps prevent that because it grows into the ground. I can't read my writing here. All right, now this is a tomato plant that had a pretty good root system, right? Well, this I've been growing since last February, and I just pulled it out of the ground today. And you see it still has a little green in it. I protected this so that it would grow through several of the freezes that we've had, except for the last one. It got cold like 1 o'clock in the morning, it froze, and I just couldn't protect it anymore. So this is what you'll have whenever you do this rootstock, only it'll be twice the size of this one. And that's important on the tomato plants. The other thing that you can graft is pepper plants. And with the grafting, of course, you're taking the rootstock and you're putting your favorite onto that rootstock. Since you have your favorite, and you'll have more of it. We thought about getting some tomato plants that were already grafted. I kind of started a little late on these, and I don't have very many of them. But we thought about buying some and bringing them down here and selling in our store. But by the time it was all said and done, it'd be $8 a plant, and I don't think San Antonio's ready for that. I mean, when they go out there and see stuff we have for $2 or $3, they get upset. So. What time do I have left?
Are you ready for questions?
Not yet. Where's the timer at? Oh, 4 seconds?
Yeah.
Minutes, oh. Gee, that went faster than I thought it was. All right, well, I guess what we can do is we talk about oh yeah. Now we're going to be, right now in the United States, they just do mostly this tomato grafting. They don't do a whole lot with the squash and eggplant and peppers and cucumbers and well, what else we grow in the garden? not the onions, not red, not, you can't do the root crops. We,
Apple.
no, not okra.
Yellow squash.
Squash, yeah, the squash. Just basically things that are on a vine plant. Melons, that's what I was looking for, melons, watermelons and melons. Those can be grafted also. And, you know, here in the States, you know, in the summertime, these too start kind of wilting. And no matter how much water you put on them, they're gonna wilt. But one problem with that is of course the heat. But another problem is you get all the salt into the soil from using commercial fertilizers. So instead of using commercial fertilizers, you want to try to use an organic fertilizer. And most of the organic fertilizers are fish derivative. Now using the organic fertilizer along with the rootstock will help these things continue to produce throughout the summer, when usually here the squash and some of these things start to die off a little bit. I know my squash plants, they start wilting, and no matter how much water you put on them, they're going to wilt. And at night they come back up and they look great, and then when it gets hot, they go back down again. And grafting will help prevent some of that. Now, right now, tomato grafting is about the only grafting they do here in the States, and we're going to start with bringing into squash. I found resources. We have for squash and pepper and watermelons and cantaloupe and eggplant. We have the rootstocks for those. We're going to be doing that this year. And then we also found a source that has the grafting clips that go with all that. I've been buying a grafting clip from a company here in the States for 5 years, and we didn't realize that on the clip is a little place you put the tube through that would hold this graft into place. And we found a place that supplies that tube. And the company that I've been buying all these grafting clips for didn't even know that's what that hole was in that grafting clip. So we are looking to developing this and for it to be an exciting time as we bring this grafting into the United States for other things other than tomato. And once you do your graft, there's a period of healing that the plant has to go through, and that healing just brings means it's going to graft together and grow together. I guess you've seen this when you've done grafting on trees. It's basically the same concept. All right. Well, I ran out of things to say. Did not quite 10 minutes.
12 seconds.
Got 12 seconds to go?
12, yeah.
Oh, it says 2 minutes over here.
Well, several issues. He's not got that.
All right, good.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
I missed the first part. So you're putting one tomato plant bottom on two.
Right, but it's a specialized rootstock. They grow this stuff for the rootstock, and the rootstock, when you grow the rootstock, you do have to go ahead and graft it. If you grow the rootstock, then you're going to end up with tomatoes that are small and they're going to taste bad.
When you buy the rootstock,
Yes, ma'am.
because it's got stronger, more powerful root.
Right.
And then you put your favorite tomato on that.
Yes, ma'd.
Because when you get a really nice plant that they don't barely breed at all, what fluctuates?
Temperatures. It can be temperature. Depending on what kind of plant it is. Some plants have to have the bees. You don't have the bees.
Tomatoes,
Lots of bugs. Yeah.
Carl?
There's a whole lot of things that can cause that. You just have to see what specifics in your area and look it up online basically and see. Seeds. Did you buy the good seeds from David's Garden Seeds or buy the cheap stuff from Walmart?
So David,
Yes, sir.
do we develop the rootstock, or are you saying that you
have to buy the rootstock.
You sell the rootstock?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then it's up to the client to grow whatever they got,
Right.
their favorite tomato is, and then graft it onto the rootstock that is purchased from you.
Yes, sir.
And so, when the rootstock is purchased from you, what does it look like?
The rootstock is a seed.
It's a seed.
It'll look just like the tomato seed or the pepper seed.
So we buy, the rootstock is actually a seed.
Right.
that grows into the rootstock.
Right. Just like these were all, I started these from seed.
Those are all rootstocks.
Right.
Okay. Okay, and from a price standpoint, is the rootstock about the same price?
Oh, no.
It's not more?
On a, just, let's see, this rose tomato that we grow here, a package of 25 seeds is $3.25. The Maxi Fort is a package of 25, is like $15.
And those are rootstocks. Well,
Right.
how do you choose which rootstock to buy?
On our website, in our description, it has it, a description of which ones you want to buy. Because if you're doing the beefsteak tomatoes, which is
Yes.
what these are, you want to do use the Maxi Fort.
Okay.
If you're doing a cherry tomato, there's another one that you carry. It's called.
I got you. So different rootstocks are compatible with
Right.
different
tomato
variety of tomatoes.
Right.
Okay. All right. Wow.
And do you,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Does,
No, go ahead.
okay, do stronger tomatoes, does that help ward off things like aphids? You said
It's supposed to,
oh,
because a lot of those things are soil-borne, and once they get into the plant, this prevents it from getting into the plant. And it's supposed to help keep off aphids, the spider mites, and different things like that. It's supposed to.
okay.
But in gardening, there's no definitive answers on anything really.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can't sit here and say this is going to keep this disease or it's going to keep that 100%.
But if you do have trouble with spider mites, what's the best way to help get rid of it?
I used to go out there and keep them washed off with a high pressure hose.
Okay, so you don't
Yeah,
put
I've tried
water or...
I've tried all kinds of things and they're there. But they're supposed to. Sometimes the spider mites come in because the plants start wilting in the summertime, the main time that I've noticed them. And so by growing the stronger plant, it should defeat some of those spider mites,
Yeah, okay.
defend against some of the spider mites.
So David, at what point of the season here, generally speaking, do we start, or do we grow them simultaneously, the rootstock and whatever we want?
Well, that's what I did here, but as you see, it didn't really come out right. My
What would you
sicons
recommend?
are a little smaller. I would say probably about a 4-week difference between the two.
So start
And
the
I guess it's
rootstock
going to depend a little
first.
bit about the growing conditions and the tomato plant that you're using.
Now, do you graft them while they're still in the little
Right.
seedling pots?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you try to do it after you direct sown them, they'll probably die because you're going to have a little protected environment while they heal.
Sure. So when you say, when do we plant them in the ground after grafting?
When they're 8 to 10 inches tall.
And we graft them when they're how tall?
About 6 inches.
Okay, so another 2 more inches we throw them in the ground. When should we start a rootstock?
What time of month?
You should already start.
Is
Now,
it-
you can start them now and then, because generally we don't plant things after it freezes, right? The first
No,
freeze.
you wait till the ground's a certain temperature,
Then after the last freeze, right?
of course.
Yeah. And it's usually in April sometime.
Yeah.
And you can start them now, and by April they ought to be ready to go.
Okay, so who is the best, who do you want referrals from?
Anybody likes growing tomatoes?
I mean,
And
any
it is
type
heavy.
of commercial?
Oh, no, no
people?
commercial. Yeah, we stay away from commercial stuff because if they grow all these plants commercially and all of a sudden they all die, they're gonna come look at me and say, and I don't have that kind of money to fork out for insurance and liability on something like that. So even when people call and wanna buy our seeds commercially, I tell them, no, we can't sell to you. We're just a small home gardener thing. I can replace a $6 pack of seeds if you're not happy with it a lot better than I can do a $100,000 crop.
Is the best way to give them your card and number or send them to your website?
Either one will work. The website is best. They can go on there and just,
Yeah.
because we have, just about everything that we do is on the website. But not everything we sell is on the website yet. We're still working on that.
How many, the last question is, how many different varieties of rootstock are there?
I believe there's 40 tomatoes. We have seen 6.
You said the dumpsters they start a mountain house with, like all those.
That's all we've dropped, we kind of dropped the product side, we're just doing the seeds now. There are companies out there that do sell the domes and the trays and all that.
Okay, Greg, you can turn in your one-on-ones with David.
To make it slip.
You're right, I'm sorry.
I think I like the gutters done.
Yeah.
Doesn't everybody?
I'm not interested in that at all.
Okay, now's the time when we give our referrals and our testimonies. Bob, the referral I gave to you, Gail's already talked to him to some degree, so he's expecting your call and just want to do a refile on that. Okay?
All right.
I don't have it written out right now. I'll put it in next time, but David, I think my wife's gonna want to end up buying some stuff for me, so that's a referral.
Sorry for being late and not calling. Sorry, Gail, I should have called you for the timer. David, I'm sorry I missed your presentation. I find this very intriguing. I do need to talk to you about my strawberries. By the way, I bought strawberry plants from David, and they're looking great.
Really?
So, good job. And again, apologize for being late.
Very interesting presentation, because I'm gonna lie to you, I haven't grown anything in my whole life.
Not even one
Not
thing?
even in high school, elementary.
Yeah, you were resting for that thing you
You have some, you have some kids, you've grown.
Good job.
I mean the kids.
But I have a referral for Doug, which he's already talked to, we already met in my office.
Yes, sir.
So, hopefully we'll be.
The real Doug.
The best.
The real Doug.
The good Doug.
That's it.
Not even
Wow.
the great Doug.
Oh. Yeah. There you go, that's all you need to say. No, yeah, I don't know if referral.
To say how great we are as a group.
One for Bob, I called him right after his client left. It was, I actually help my client rent their house every time it comes back up on the market because they love the house. But sometimes when you get renters in there and they say, well, I had a